everyone, it's Elizabeth Maria, and this is Intuitive Tuesdays with Elizabeth Maria. I am so happy to be here today. I still haven't totally figured out this, video stuff. So until I get a assistant to help with the technical stuff, we're just gonna have to deal with the lighting and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I so just don't care about it. So, if that's your cup of tea, then maybe you can help me out. Anyways, so thank you guys for, if you're tuning in while it's live, or if you check me out later. I so appreciate it. It's, I just so enjoy the opportunity to be of service. And, through Facebook right now, this is the platform I'm using. Here now, but on my page, just in the last couple months. And so, for those of you that are new to this, my name is Elizabeth Maria. My company is Elizabeth Maria Unlimited. I offer writing services, plant-based health advocacy, and intuitive guidance. For the purposes of these lives, I do offer at the end of them a 3-card reading, just to kind of set us into, for the week. Let's see. So I just wanted to first start off with writing. And so this past week, and I hope you guys liked my my post about the spirit guides. I always have to bring some laughter into it. Lord knows, the energy is so dense in this this time space right now that I like to lighten it up a little bit. So this past week, wow, so much has happened. As I speak, I ask Great Spirit to guide me. We're listening to some wonderful Reiki healing sounds right now, and just beautiful sounds. So with the writing, so this past week, I've been called to really go back to my roots with my writing, and really going back to reading. I am, like I told you guys last week, I am working on editing a book of poems right now. But my mind has just wanted me to read, and really to unplug from the Facebook and the YouTube and all that stuff, and just read. So that's what I've been doing. I read Deepak Chopra's 7 Secrets to Success this past week. Excellent read. I so highly encourage him if you guys haven't checked him out. And because of the passing of Thich Nhat Hanh, I started reading The Art of Communicating. And actually, interestingly, and I guess, it definitely is true that the teacher comes when you're ready, right? And so after I'd finished Chopra's book, I was, because I just moved in with a friend of mine, and so he has like a whole new set of books that, that are new to me anyways. And so I was kind of, looking through his books, and I found Thich Nhat Hanh. And I had been seeing some quotes of his kind of floating around the internet, and I hadn't read anything by him. I know who he is. He's a Buddhist monk, and he's also a mediator, a peace mediator, for individuals, for couples, and for communities. And so just, a wonderful soul. And so I pulled this off the shelf. and it was actually the day that he passed. And so I kind of felt like, okay, this is the book I'm supposed to read. So what I'm going to do is I'm just actually going to read the first section of it because I really felt that uh, it pertained to what I'm working on doing in my own life and connecting with you guys collectively. So this again, I'm just going to read the first couple pages of The Art of Communicating by Thich Nhat Hanh. And it's, Thich Nhat Hanh. Okay. Nothing can survive without food. Everything we consume acts either to heal us or to poison us. We tend to think of nourishment only as what we take in through our mouths, but what we consume with our eyes, our ears, our noses, our tongues, and our bodies is also food. The conversations going on around us and those we participate in are also food. We are consuming and creating the kind of food that is healthy for us and helps us grow. When we say something that nourishes us and uplifts the people around us, we are feeding love and compassion. When we speak and act in a way that causes tension and anger, we are nourishing violence and suffering. We often ingest toxic communication from those around us. And if you think of Facebook land, guys, I mean, if y'all are still friends with people that are posting hate, get them off of here. I mean, you can still be friends with them, but why you want to see that, right? I mean, it's just because we do absorb it. And I loved, as soon as I started reading, I really enjoyed his straightforward style and also the metaphor with food because, guys, I love food. This chapter is called Essential Food. And so, everything around us is communicating with us and we are ingesting it, right? So it's feeding us. And so, I ask you today as I read this to really consider, what food are you ingesting? Food that is filling your heart with love and compassion, or food that is just filling your heart with poison and anger and negativity, right? The choice is ours. We have free will. We often ingest toxic communication from those around us and from what we watch and read. Are we ingesting things that grow our understanding and compassion? If so, that's good food. Often, we ingest communication that makes us feel bad or insecure about ourselves or judgmental and superior to others. We can think about our communication in terms of nourishment and consumption. The internet, in terms of nourishment, the internet is an item of consumption, full of nutrients that are both healing and toxic. It's so easy to ingest a lot in just a few minutes' time. This doesn't mean you shouldn't use the internet, but you should be conscious of what you are reading and watching. And and this goes for TV as well, right? Any kind of media, right? It's about, becoming mindful of your consumption. And, I've been on this learning about mindfulness for a long time. And I remember years ago, I stopped watching horror movies because of this. When I was younger, I was really into horror. And, you guys or logging on and you love horror, then that is great. But for me, it actually, I was watching the, I guess it was like the second like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it was with a good friend of mine, Chad, and we were watching it, and both of us kind of turned to each other, and we were like, why? Why are we watching this? And we just turned it off. And I haven't watched a horror movie since then. And that was, gosh, probably 15 years ago. I do like mystery and, suspense and stuff like that, but nothing like way crazy gory. It's just, because I think about, like, I don't want to witness that. I know that it's out in the world. But why do I want to consume that kind of energy? No, thank you. Okay, so be conscious about what you are reading and watching. When you work with your computer for 3 or 4 hours, you are totally lost. It's like eating French fries. I love this analogy because let me tell you guys, this morning, I transferred my old phone to my new phone, and it was like 3 hours, and it's still like my new phone is still like downloading all my apps and stuff. It was like 3 hours of technology headache and websites and talking to different people, and and I mean, it almost brought me to tears. It was crazy how like attached I was to getting this phone, back up, and I realized at some point, I guess it was like around noon today, it was like, I mean, this has consumed, hours of my day so far. And so I just set it aside. I had some lunch, I took a nap, and when I woke up, I decided to start reading, and I just said, the phone will work itself out, the computer, all the systems that I'm plugged into, because I do work from home most days. And so, if you're someone that's out there that's working from home, give yourself a break. Sometimes like when, the website won't load or something, it's usually, I mean, it's like Great Spirit, your guide, saying, time for a break. Just go outside, sit in the backyard. If you don't have a backyard, I mean, walk down the street, whatever, sit and breathe. That's what I did today. And it's amazing how much better I feel. I mean, this morning I was like, not in the best place, man. Technology be damned. Yeah, but I love this, how he equates like sitting in front of the computer for hours to eating French fries, because fast food is no food. I mean, I don't even know if it's like actually organic, like material sustenance anymore. I think it's like plastic and Lord knows what else. Anyways, so you shouldn't eat French fries all day, and you shouldn't be on the computer all day. A few French fries, a few hours are probably all most of us need. What you read and write can help you heal. And this is, I love this paragraph, because this is what I am all about, guys. And I hope, that, those of you that tune into this are also on this track as well. I kind of feel like those that I connect with are that through reading, through words, words have so much power, and it is, it's important for me to be mindful with each word that I say, to be mindful with my listening, right? To be mindful with what I consume, what types of books I'm reading, because reading and writing can help you heal. So be thoughtful about what you consume. When you write an email or a letter that is full of understanding and compassion, you are nourishing yourself during the time you write the letter. Even if it's just a short note, everything that you write down can nourish you and the person with whom you are writing. And I will stop there for today. I love that. I love that last line. I do incorporate writing as guidance in my guidance counseling, because I do believe in the power of writing and the power of the word. So thank you, Thich Nhat Hanh, for your wonderful words today, the art of communicating. Okay. Now for the next section of this live, I am going to use my little gong. I got some feedback from my last one, my last live, that this was enjoyable. So I will kind of, just to clear the air. Thank you, Great Spirit. I like to hit it too. Oh, I love those sounds. Okay, so now moving into food, I wanted to talk to you guys today about wormwood. Wormwood. So this is some dried wormwood here that I have that I bought from a wonderful little apothecary up in Blue Ridge the last time I was there. And I wanted to read a little bit about the benefits of wormwood today. So wormwood is one of the truly bitter plants. It means without sweetness. So wormwood has a strong tonic effect on the digestive system, and this is so important. Wormwood is a wonderful herb for any kind of gut health, okay? Especially stomach and the gallbladder. So if you're someone that is working on detoxing the gut, getting out of, old foods that, no longer serve you or whatever, wormwood is your herb. It is taken in small doses and sipped. It's intensely bitter. What I do is I'll make a tincture with the leaves, and then I just add like a little bit. I make it pretty strong, and I just add a little bit into another kind of tea. Drink it fast. Drink it because it is so bitter. But I'll do a little bit in the morning and then a little bit in the evening. And you don't want to consume wormwood for more than a couple weeks at a time. So for me, let's see, the last time I did a daily regimen of wormwood was back in, I guess it was November. So I'm about to start doing another one. Wonderful for gut health. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so here's some of the key actions. It stimulates secretion of bile. It's anti-inflammatory. It eases stomach pain. It's a mild antidepressant. And it's an anti-parasitic. So those of you that are wanting to do detox diets to, pull out any kind of funky stuff in the gut, wormwood is your friend. Let's see, what else? It's wormwood is commonly used by herbalists and naturopaths to treat parasitic infections in the gut, like I just said, such as worm infestation. Wormwood is also a good insecticide and insect repellent. It's also useful for any type of infection because it is anti-inflammatory. And so, especially during these hunker down winter months, right? Wormwood is your friend. So check it out. I encourage you guys to buy all your herbs, fresh from your local apothecary, or, order them online from an apothecary, instead of getting them in pill form. That's just my opinion. So get some wormwood, guys. Good for the gut. Good for the gut. Okay. So now I'm going to move into my intuitive guidance, and I really enjoyed, and I felt like, maybe it was helpful for some of you guys to learn about my own path with connecting with my guides, connecting with source energy, and what I guess, not I guess, but really the journey that I'm on, and because I believe that as above, so below, right? Um, that what happens on the micro is happening on the macro, and so whoever tunes in and listens, then maybe what I'm discussing will resonate with you. So this past week, I had a pretty intense series of signs and synchronicities that I wanted to share with y'all. Great Spirit, allow me to speak as a neutral conduit of your love and light. So this week, I've been processing a lot this week because my grandmother passed on Thursday, and I am not someone who is very public with my grief, so I really haven't talked to a lot of people or posted stuff about it. But I did want to. I gotta get Ganesha into the frame. I don't understand why it's just my head. It's so weird. Okay, I'm gonna sit back. Let me do this. Let's do that. Okay, does that work? I don't know what's happening. Okay, so, anyways, so I have known for a while that my grandmother was preparing to cross over the Rainbow Bridge, and such a wonderful, beautiful soul with such a great sense of humor. All the way up. The last time I was able to FaceTime with her on her birthday, and she cracked a joke and smiled, and that just lit me up. All the way to the end. She was 101 when she passed, and wow. Just gosh. So much life, right? So my grandmother has always been really interested in bird watching, and she does some art, and she likes to paint birds, and she's always been about birds. And so I'd say about 3 weeks ago is when, maybe a month ago, is when the birds started talking to me, and I don't mean they were like, hey, what's up, but they were sending me messages, and I knew it. The first instance was my mom and I were driving. We were actually driving back down to Athens. I believe this was right around Christmas, and it was just amazing. We were driving down a little side road or a back road, and the amount of birds that just covered, in front of us. It was more birds than either of us had ever seen. And they were just flying around. They were on the road. We could barely get through them. The amount of birds, it was crazy. And I remember at the time saying, wow, this seems like a sign. Because neither of us have ever, and I've definitely seen, big flights of birds and stuff, but nothing like this. It was just pretty out of this world. And so that was the first sign. And then I guess it was about 3 weeks ago, I was cooking in my kitchen, obviously, and there's a window right next to the sink, and so I was sitting there doing some cooking and stuff, and this bird just came and hit and just kamikazed right into the side window, and then ricocheted off onto the side porch and died. And I just, at that time, I knew that the birds are speaking to me, and this is a sign. And so I initially got really nervous about it, because I knew that, the death of a bird and witnessing that, I was like, I felt in me that it was a sign that someone close to me was preparing to pass. And I actually talked to several of my friends about this. And, I knew that my grandmother was in hospice. So, I was like, well, it could be that, but she's been in hospice several times in the last couple of years, and it just keeps on keeping on. So anyway, so that was the second. And then I started getting these, just like a knowing would come over me, and it was basically told to me the day that she was going to pass. And so I got kind of frantic about it. Like, I needed to get down there to see her before this day. I needed to get down there. My car had been in the shop. I have been unable to get there, and it really caused me a lot of grief, because I wanted to get there before this day, but I wasn't able to. I am comforted in knowing that, we are all energy. We're all frequency, and that, my grandmother was with me and I was with her energetically. Around that time, I started talking with her a lot and just letting her know that, that even if I wasn't there in physical form, that I was there in energetic form, and that, I loved her. I talked to her in the mornings. I included her in my prayers. And so the weeks went on after that bird kamikaze. And then the day that she passed, I actually went into a deep meditation that morning. And actually, before the meditation, I was looking at my roommate's bookshelf, and I just decided to pull off this book. And I pulled it off, and it said silver wings on it. And so that was another bird thing. And I connected it to, okay, wings, like I've been having this bird symbolism recently. So this, means something. So I took it off the shelf, I laid it on the table, I flipped it open, and it took me straight to a passage about unconditional love. Then I went into meditation, and I was doing a friend of mine sent me a kind of a shamanic drum meditation, and so I was listening to that, and I was doing my yoga. I do a lot of, when I get into meditation, it's a lot. I do movement meditation, and I do sit still as well. But I was in this movement meditation, and I started thanking. I always go through and I thank all of my guides. I thank Great Spirit, God. I thank, everyone. I thank the people that are, embodied in this realm, as well as my ancestors. So I started going through the list, and I always thank my granddaddy. And I sat on this thanks towards my grandmother. Ooh, I'm just getting a chill with this, and my granddaddy. And I just, I gave them so much love and thanks for, just for loving me unconditionally. And these are, my adopted parents, which adopted grandparents, which I really feel like there's an argument there for nurture over nature, because they gave me unconditional love, especially my granddaddy. We had a really, really, really close connection, and he passed actually 44 years ago. Anyways, and so I was in my meditation, and I was thanking them, and I was thanking my other ancestors. And as soon as I got out of meditation, I went, saw the book laying there, Silver Wings. Then I checked my phone, and I had gotten a text from my sister saying that grandmother had passed. And Oh, I knew it in every fiber of my being that when I was in meditation, that she and Daddy's energy came to me. And then when I saw that text, I just knew that, all of these signs, all of the birds, and it like clicked in my head because I really hadn't thought about how much grandmother loved birds until that moment. And it was like I just went back. I went back to the birds on the highway. I went back to the kamikaze bird. I went back to the silver wings book. Like all of these signs that had been coming to me, it was like they all just flashed quickly in my mind. And then later on that day, as y'all know, I am in a Master's of Social Work program, and so I had to do some schoolwork, and the waves of grief are coming. My grandmother lived such a long life, and I was so blessed to know her for 47 years. And I know that it was time, and I don't feel that it was untimely or anything. But still, the waves come, just that morning of, not being able to crack jokes with her, make her laugh, to go down there. She loved getting her fingernails, painted. Anyways, and so later on that day, I was doing some schoolwork, and I came across a word that I didn't know. And anytime I come across a word I don't know, I look it up. And so the word was auspice, auspice, and I was like, it's kind of an archaic term. What the auspices are. So auspice is really, it's about it's like having a patron or who is funding, right? And so I looked that up, but then when I Googled it, I saw below it that there's also a religious meaning to the word auspice. And so I clicked on it, and it said it was a divination, that an auspice was a divinator, or someone who uses divination tools, right, which is me with the tarot, and that they connect through birds. And so as soon as I read this, it was like my whole body just went into these chills. And that's that's always how I know when Great Spirit is speaking to me. I feel it all in my body. And this is, all about tapping in to that intuition and not discounting these kinds of signs and synchronicities, guys. I would love to hear any of your synchronicity stories, because, they're just beautiful to me. And to me, it is proof. It is proof. And I already, I know in my heart how connected I am to everyone. We are one, right? And it's so beautiful when, things like this materialize and connect to us in this realm. It's just beautiful. And so auspice is divination from the actions of birds. And as soon as I read that, my whole body just went into these, just beautiful series of chills. I started crying, and I felt that grandmother had been speaking to me through the birds. And so later on that day, I decided to look up divination from the actions of birds. And I actually came across a woman who is also an intuitive guidance counselor, and she is also an auspice, a divination from the actions of birds. She is in Ireland, and I can't remember her name, but I have a feeling that she's going to be showing up in my life more and more. And so I clicked on the YouTube video with her, and as soon as she started talking, I just started crying. And I felt like, and the first thing that came to me was that my grandmother had led me to this woman, and I have been kind of searching for more practitioners like me that couple more traditional modalities of counseling and guidance with spiritual modalities. And so I found this woman that also does divination with birds. And so how beautiful is that? Thank you, grandmother, so much for giving me that gift. It just was beautiful. And I'll say today, when I was out on my back porch, I just take time sometimes to just sit and listen. I just listen to the world. I listen to whatever is going on around me. And I started just hearing all of these birds. And I said out loud, I said, Grandma, are you here with me? Are you here? And I looked out of my porch and we have a tree house in the backyard. Oops, hold on, gotta get rid of that. We have a tree house in the backyard, and right as I was saying that, a red cardinal just flew and landed on top of the tree house, exactly in my, range of sight. And I was like, again, the chills, and, thank you, grandmother, for being with me. And, I knew that she had crossed peacefully, and that, now she is of the world, of the universe, and always with me, and I'm so thankful. So that is my signs and synchronicities stories today. And, for you guys, don't discount, like, when you get a thought, when you get some type of, any kind of, and of course not all thoughts are equal, right? I really have begun to look at thoughts as separate formations from myself, right? And so if a thought comes in that's I consider kind of low vibe thought, then a lot of times that's just from like kind of the negative collective energy, and it's not even yours. And so you can easily detach from the thoughts that no longer serve. But when a thought comes through, especially in meditation or when you're in a state of mindfulness, and that just means, I know mindfulness is like a big buzzword or whatnot, but really it just means being in the present moment, okay? And so if you're in presence, then you are in God energy. It doesn't matter if you're in the grocery store or driving or sitting on your back porch like I was earlier, whatever. It's being in that present. That is when we are tapped in to God energy. And so the thoughts that come through during those periods, and especially if it's like, if it's a yes, I find that it's in my heart. That if I have a feeling that just floods my heart and my upper body with just these beautiful vibrations, I'm like, yes, I'm on the right path. I know it. Thank you, Great Spirit. But if I get like a tightening, something like a tight feeling in my gut, then that is, something funky is amiss. Something funky. Okay? And that means, it's time to walk away or recenter, right? Or, just listen. So if a thought comes in and it's especially accompanied with a funky feeling in the gut, then that is a no for me. Even if it's a situation that I think my mind thinks should be a yes, right? I've had several experiences in the last week where that happened, where I really wanted an outcome a certain way, and even though my gut was like, ew, Elizabeth, what the heck are you doing? No, I am pretty stubborn, so it takes me a while to finally listen, but I did, and everything's good. So anyways, let's see. Okay, so now let's move into a reading. I am going to do just a 3-card spread, and then I will pull out a Ascended Master card. So the 3-card spreads that I do for these lives, this is kind of like it is a collective energetic update for the week, okay? And so this is the week of the 24th. Today is the 25th, January 25th, 2022. And so this reading will be good until next Tuesday. I am going to clear the energy as we segue into this next section by using my wonderful little sound healing bowl that my daughter gave me for Christmas. I love you guys. Thank you, Great Spirit. And I still have not remembered to turn the darn phone off. I'm going to do that again, guys. Okay, now it's on silent. Let's do that one more time. Thank you, Great Spirit. I'm so blessed. So blessed. Okay. So, I need to grab my, 1 second. I've been using this tarot book lately, and I really enjoy it. So I kind of have been going back and forth between that one. So what I usually do is I take from the book, and then whatever my intuition comes up with, I add that, okay? I can no longer, I guess, I can take a picture of this afterwards and put it in the comments, but my phone really isn't working right now, so I'll just hold them up for you guys, and talk about it, and then, if you want to do your own research on the cards, then go ahead and do that. So I always use the Everyday Tarot deck. This is the deck that found me a couple years ago, and I've been using. Thank you, Great Spirit, for allowing me to be a neutral. Thank you, Great Spirit. I love these cards, guys. I always have some copper on to help with the energetic connection, because that's what this is, right? There's my little copper. I got this in Nashville when I was there last time. That's what this is all about, is, a divination tool is just, and I don't want to say just to undercut the importance of it, because it's a wonderful tool, and I love the symbolism of the tarot, which is why I use them. But anyone can use anything. I mean, you really can just use your body to tap in, right? But I like words and symbols, so the tarot chose me. Thank you, Great Spirit. This is an energetic update for the collective. Let's see where we're at. What we gotta do to get to the next level. Okay, some will come out. Let's see what that is. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Wow. Okay. It just popped right out. Usually when that happens, it means it's okay. Very interesting. Wow. Wow, guys. Okay, so, my daughter gave me this little stand, and so I'm going to show you guys the cards on the stand right now. We have, so the first card that we have is, and this is really interesting. I mean, one of the things I've been thinking about as we move into this, the first card is the Hanged Man, and so this is all about waiting. So this is about being in a space of waiting, kind of an in between time. And what's interesting about this, and really interesting, not interesting, because it's always funny how the cards, I mean, definitely connect to where, um, at least where I am and where, it seems like a collective thing. Because in January is really a hunker down month. And I was actually talking to a friend of mine the other day about, we say that the New Year's starts in January, but really for me, the New Year starts at the spring equinox, right, in March 21st, I believe. So right now we are in a period of time where we are supposed to be, hunkered down, right? This is a waiting, like an interim period. January is. And so the Hanged Man definitely reflects that. Um, as you can see, even though it's called the Hanged Man, and we could see a negative connotation, if we look at him, he is just chilling. I mean, he looks like, his arms are kind of behind his back, his legs, like he's doing some, I don't know, upside down yoga poses or something like that, right? So, so the upright reading, and this card was upright. And for me, when I do a 3-card spread, the first card is the energy that we're in, we're kind of coming out of, okay? The second card will be what is currently happening, and then the third card will bring us into next week. So the upright meaning of the Hanged Man. So events are not moving with speed, but all you can do is wait patiently in the knowledge that the universe has its own plan, okay? The card can also indicate that you may have made sacrifices just now and are eager to see the rewards. Unfortunately, you cannot force an outcome that fits with your timetable, right? There are many other factors about which you have no knowledge or influence about. Therefore, you may also expect delays to travel plans or any kind of project. And, we're also, Mercury's in retrograde, so this is not a great time for contracts, for, starting new endeavors. Honestly, I mean, this is a time to really reflect on, what you have been going through, what you have learned over this past year, right? To focus on just breathing into the moment. This is a time in January where, take all the busyness, take all the clutter off of your plate and just sit, listen to the birds outside on the porch, read a book, okay? So, on a creative level, this card can appear frequently when a person is feeling frustrated with their progress. And I just told you guys about my writing project that really, it's been on the back burner for the last couple of weeks, and I've just felt like reading. The message of the Hanged Man is incubation, just like I said. This is not a bad sign, guys. It is all about needing time to evolve, right? And I mean, it's cliche, but Rome was not built in a day. We need time to evolve. We need time for our bodies to heal. I mean, guys, I took a 2-hour nap today, and guess what? I got absolutely no guilt about that. It was wonderful. Another message from the Hanged Man is to try to see things from a new angle. If your approach isn't working, ask yourself if you can think laterally or find a way to turn the situation around. Okay? And so the Hangman is all about contemplation. Okay, so for our next card, we have the Four of Swords. And isn't this interesting? We have another rest card. Okay, and so if we see here with the Four of Swords, we see that the three of them are up on the wall. The fourth one is laying. No one is, wielding anything. We see the woman here just resting, right? The Four of Swords is all about, it's a time again of this reflection, right? Let me get there in my book and we'll tell you. I'll kind of go from there. Okay. So, the Four of Swords has the meaning of time out. So you may be taking rest from work, a personal project, or a relationship. The card often comes up in a reading in the past or present position to show taking a break from a relationship and also the need for recovery from an illness or some type of operation. And so the way, again, that I do my readings is that this card is where we're at currently. And, today has definitely been a very restful day for me. I have been a little bit under the weather, and so, I've been listening to my body. There's been so many times in the past where I would just, take some freaking Dayquil and get on with it, right? Just push. And that kind of energy just no longer serves me anymore. When my body says rest, I listen, and I go within. And so, commonly, as a prediction card, the Fourth of Swords shows recovery from stress. So the message is to conserve your energy and take quiet time. Isn't that awesome how we got the Hangman? So it's, it's a time of reflection. Take some quiet time for yourself. This is all about a time for solitude, okay? And it says specifically, can also apply to mediators. Isn't that interesting that I started with Thich Nhat Hanh, right? And that's what I'm working on in social work, is mediation, and light workers, and any individual that's following a spiritual path. You may need more mental space and private time than usual right now, okay? So in this sense, the card is a nudge to take time to recharge, guys. So much dense energy. I mean, we're clearing out what isn't serving. We're opening up and releasing to bring in, right? And so all of that energy, all that spiritual work, it takes energy, guys. And so give yourself a break. Take a nap, okay? The cards have told you, I've told you, take a nap. Chill out this week, okay? Okay, and so this is the energy that we are moving into. This is the Eight of Swords, and it's interesting. We have another swords here. The Eight of Swords is about this feeling of restriction. Oh, excuse me. I totally messed that up, which is good because I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute, this isn't swords, it's wands. That makes me a little bit happier, actually, because I'm like, wow, after all this rest, I don't want to be restricted. I want to be released, right? Yay. So, welcome to Elizabeth Maria Unlimited, perfectly imperfect and proud of it. So, I'm glad that it was wands and not the Eight of Swords. Okay, so let's move on to the Eight of Wands. So we see this is the element of fire, the number 8. This is all about news and travel here, the Eight of Wands. So this is the energy that we're moving into at the end of the week, moving into next week. So along with the Ace, the Eight of Wands is one of the most positive cards in the suit. It brings lots of communication. So you may be inundated with emails, calls, and exciting offers. If you have felt held back or stuck waiting, and so again, we have this waiting energy, right? This restful period, right? Then the Eight of Wands comes, that you will soon be receiving positive news. All of your projects grow wings. I mean, come on, guys, with the bird imagery. I can't make this shit up. I mean, it's beautiful. All your projects have wings moving swiftly forward. Just be prepared for the shift. That is why right now, guys, go in, take that nap, connect with Great Spirit, and that is all an inside job, okay? You ain't gonna find that out. You're not gonna find it in any, buying a new car or, hanging out with your friends. I mean, I love my friends, but this is an inside job, guys. And so look at this beauty that is coming up at the end of the week. So, let's see, there's all kinds. So get prepared for the energy of the wands are moving. Frantic events will energize you, but you will also need to prioritize any offers. Use discernment. That is a word that has come to me in meditation. It has come to me through my spirit guides this past week. Use discernment, okay? You don't feel you have to say yes to everything. Remember that no is a complete sentence. Choose wisely and enjoy this exciting influence. In relationships, the Eight of Wands can bring great news about love, particularly if you have been separated from a partner recently or are awaiting to hear from a potential partner, okay? You may be traveling soon to see one another. Additionally, this card has often come up in readings to show the professions of carpentry and scaffolding, work that involves using or building a framework. And I will say using or building a framework in the material or, in the ethers, right? So creating that new foundation for you to grow and flourish and thrive from. What a wonderful ending for our 3-card reading. Oh, just wonderful. Just wonderful. I love it. If you guys are interested in learning more about what I have to offer, please check out my website. It is in the description for this video. And also, if you want to support this content, check out my Patreon site. There's several different ways that you can contribute. So much love and light, you guys. Until next week, I'm Elizabeth Maria. I love you. Bye.